If we were to outlaw abortion, I feel like it's going to bring a lot more consequences than we might really realize. For instance, in Ohio, there was a 10-year-old girl who, this is shortly after Roe v. Wade was overturned, maybe a week or a month after, there was a 10-year-old girl in Ohio who was raped and was forced to travel to Indiana to get an abortion because their laws in Ohio was no abortion regardless of the reason. So, are we really pro-life in the sense that we want to? I feel like the pro-life argument is just giving the fetus more priority than a 10-year-old girl. I don't know, it's so messed up to me. It just sounds so messed up to me that we would expect a 10-year-old girl got raped to carry that pregnancy on to birth. Do we really expect women to carry the pregnancy on to birth despite the reasons? Are we really saying that minor children should be forced to do that with rape? And if you're one of those people that says yes, then I don't know. I don't think there's anything I could say that could convince you or whatever, which it's not my issue to convince you, not my responsibility, but it's our responsibility to think critically about all this stuff. And if we're not thinking critically, if we're not really valuing the life that's there, if we're not respecting the body that's there, we're not really being pro-life to the fullest, because being 10-year-old, having to be forced to carry that pregnancy on to birth that's a significant health risk, and it's not really communicating the message to women that we want to communicate, that even if you don't want the child, you're forced to carry it on. It's not right to me. And the thing with that whole deal is, if you say that, well, we should outlaw abortion, but only in exceptions for rape, well, then I would just say to you, then what counts as rape then? What counts as rape? Is consent before you started, is that where we count rape? But no, even if you consent to having sex and having a kid, but if during the act you'll all of a sudden just say, well, I really don't want to do this anymore. Well, you have the right. Consent is throughout the act of sex. It's not just before it, it's throughout it. And it's going to be hard for you to prove which cases of abortion should be granted because of rape. Because if we outlaw abortion, I think that it's going to put a lot of the pressure onto women to prove who were raped, that they were raped, to get the abortion. And that's so hard to prove. It's so hard to prove. So I just wanted to bring that point up to you, that it's not as easy as you might think it is. That we can just somehow just say, okay, well, in cases of rape, well, rape is so complex, sexual assault is so complex because consent, it can be withdrawn at any time. And a lot of times it's so complicated because people sometimes are too afraid to say no. The consequences of saying no in their minds can be more severe depending on the act. So it's really hard for us to judge people. It's really not right for us to judge people, because that's a complicated topic. It's so complicated because you can withdraw your consent at any time, and that means it's done. But people just aren't aware of that. So I hope that this video encourages more critical thought on the issue with this and all that. And we shouldn't really be victim blaming people of just, oh, you should have been more responsible. Oh, you should have, take some accountability for your actions and stop sleeping around and all that stuff. Well, you might not realize it, but promiscuity, that's not the cause, that's the symptom of the problem. Why are people promiscuous? Usually it's because of a deep-seated trauma. That's typically the common pattern with trauma with people that have been through a lot of trauma, especially childhood trauma, is promiscuity. And it's not our place to judge that. Of course, you are right that people need to be taking responsibility for their actions. However, you might be missing the point that we need to go to the root of the problem, not just the symptoms. We need to address the root. And the root is that there's something wrong with our society that we're not addressing. We're not addressing childhood trauma, abuse, neglect, the cycles of that, and how that contributes to all the problems that we have today. So I hope that's helpful to think about. And I hope that you take this seriously and think it through. I've been thinking about this through from both sides. I didn't come into this with just the pro-choice. I've grown up in this environment that I'm in, hearing all different sides of the argument. And I just hope that you find the answers that you need and that you're able to support the people that you need. Because if it was your mother that went through this, would you really expect her to carry pregnancy on to birth? Would you really expect her, even if she didn't want to, if she wanted to get the abortion, would you really force your mom to get an abortion even if she herself did not want it? Would you really expect her to? Think about that. If you wouldn't expect your mom to do something that she doesn't want to do, despite if it was consensual or not, then why do we subject all women? Why do we outlaw it for all of them?